it's not, because there's a heaven, there's somewhere outside of that experience that we may see our loved ones. So it's a finality in the physical form, yet many people are hopeful, Sonia, that they may one day see their loved ones, in heaven or another place. So can you give us a definition as to what death is from a metaphysical perspective?
Geez, I'm glad you made the question simple. I'm glad you asked me something easy, Halima.
Our listeners want to know. We'll get to the heavy stuff later.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're saying the whole death concept. Well, I approach this whole thing from a whole different perspective, a whole different avenue anyway. But I have to say, in order to answer that question, I have to say first and foremost that I feel that the whole concept of death is a program. I do feel that it was programmed into human genetics some distant time ago, and I always have to go back to the whole concept of technology and some with that, and in recognizing that many of us already go, oh yeah, there were ancients, there were some that were here that came on the planet before from someplace else. Well, they were advanced in technology, and they basically dumbed down the human DNA for reasons. Okay, well, I'm going to go back a little bit more into your question, but this all relates. It's the only way I can explain any of it. But we have to recognize that just as human beings today are involved in technology, in the sense of the genetic engineering of humans and our plants, and just in general, human beings are in a kindergarten stage, as I like to say, of exploring deeper levels of technology, because it's the whole idea of being able to do this is in our genetics because of what was done previously. Now, it doesn't matter what race it was done to. The point is that whatever was done long ago runs through the entire human gene pool, and we have to recognize that. It's the only way that we're going to be able to make some head or tail of all of this, is to recognize that it runs through all of human beings. Your DNA got dumbed down so you were programmed to live for X amount of time, and it had to be done that way. If they were dumbing down human beings on the planet, or creating some sort of slave force, which would be the entire planet, or entire set of human beings that were accessible, let's say, to these entities at the time, then they would program human DNA to live a certain amount of time, because obviously the longer you are here on the planet is the more knowledge you're going to acquire. Now, my own awareness has said to me that it would be necessary to program the human genetics, human DNA, the human body to live for X amount of time, because after a certain amount of time, I think it was maybe like 1,000 years, after that certain time, I believe that the DNA automatically starts to revert back to its normal, natural state. So if you die and you keep coming back in a new body, you're basically on rewind. You will never, chances of you getting that this is a program and snapping out of it anytime soon was anticipated as not as next to not happening, and maybe some distant time down the past. So we have to look at the fact that the human body, human brain, all of it is very much like a computer, which is the only way that we could even develop a concept for creating a computer. Whatever we create and outside of us, it's because of something that is inside of us. It's because of deeply embedded memories of our own design, our own creation, our own modifications. It's in there, and it starts to awaken. So we, in order to look at the whole idea of death and say whether, we want to be here or not, we've got to understand that programming as it is being done now, so that we don't think it's all impossible and it's all fluffy stuff that anybody did this a long time ago. If we're doing it now as human beings on a minuscule level, that means it was very possible, and it was done. Could be millions of years ago, it could be billions of years ago, because we can now play with the concept of time as well. So you also got programmed with not recognizing the parallel or the multiplicity then of reality, the fact that reality exists on so many levels, and the fact that you do exist, not just, in this concept of time, but vastly throughout all of creation. So all of that comes into play, and so what you have now in you is a natural idea and acceptance of the fact that death is unavoidable, because it is part of your program. You got to understand that. It's all part of your program. Death is acceptable. When I look back at the 90s, and we all look back, if we noticed there was a sudden surge of books and New Age movement, people coming out, TV shows, encouraging you that it's okay, death is okay, go ahead and, they were just pushing that with making it all okay. Well, there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. And it's all about you waking up and discovering who you are, that you really are source, however you want to term it, God, however, ultimately you are the consciousness that supports all of creation, ultimately that you are the backdrop. So you don't remember any of that, because every time you die and you come back through, your memory gets pretty much wiped. It's like this, you go through that light, that whatever, and it's kind of like exposing film to light, and your memory gets wiped, and you have shades of it in there. It's not that it's gone, but it's in there somewhere. So naturally, you come in and you have these systems set up in place. Your religious systems, your whatever spiritual exercise program you go through, that gives you some sort of organized concept, some sort of package concept of what life is, and it all encompasses going ahead and dying, because yes, that is the way it is, and that there is a place where you and your loved ones will meet. It just behooves me. It's just amazing to me, though, when I look on at this, even as a child, for as far back as I can remember, how everybody has just accepted this whole concept with very little questioning. As long as we hear that there is a heaven and there's an afterlife, something to make you comfortable, and you work towards being good, so that you will end up in this heaven, this place. You don't even know where you're going. You end up there
in the sky.